Tell me what you remember about the name change in 1950.
Well, Burton Roach was our city manager, and as far as I know, he was the most concerned person about all of it. And we, all of the businessmen got together, and we were all for it. And I remember that when it was announced, we had to hire, I think it was 8 people to help at the post office sort the mail that came in. Oh, it was tremendous. And I don't remember too much more activity.
Do you remember what Ralph Edwards promised to do?
Oh yes, Ralph promised to bring a troupe from Hollywood every year and put on a show here in town for the benefit of the city.
Do you think it helped?
Yes, it did help, you bet. I was very much for it.
The fiestas back then were big affairs.
Yes, it was.
And what all did they have going on?
Oh, they had, Ralph put on a big show, of course, or his group, and they put on rodeos, and it was a really high entertainment for a full week there.
What did you participate in all of this?
The Jeep race, as you can see the trophy up there on the wall, and that, I participated in the Jeep race in 1956. I won second. In 1957, I was 12th. I hit a big rock and broke spring. 1959, I won the first place and won the new Jeep. And then my wife made me quit. Then Johnny Guthrie and I laid out new course for the Jeep race every year for several years.
Where was the course that you ran on?
It was north of the local golf course and west and over the top of the Mud Mountains, over the very top.
Wasn't an easy course either.
It was not easy because the city loaned us a driver and a D7 cap to go places and make it so that a Jeep could possibly make it over the course. And we got up to near the top of Mud Mountain on a solid rock, and the D7 started sliding, and he put the tracks down and locked the brakes, and it still slid down the side of the mountain several feet. And he told us, he said, "Boys, if you want it from here on, it's yours. I'm going back to town." And he did.
And you always had a co-pilot with you. Why did you have that co-pilot?
Because when I wanted to turn a corner to the right, my co-pilot got directly over behind me, the driver, and put his weight on that side, and I could turn it faster than you could without it. And then if I turned to the right, he would get clear out of the Jeep and put his weight just as far out as he could, and I could turn that corner to the right much faster, and that helped.
What did you win when you won the Jeep race?
In 1959,
Yes.
I won a brand new CJ5 Jeep, which I was really proud of.
And you kept it?
I kept it for several years, but I kept adding things to it, such as a steel cab and a big winch on the front. And then I had a car following me out at the wrecking yard, and I could not ride the Jeep anymore. It was too rough riding. And so I traded it to Tim Welburn for another Jeep that didn't have all that on
it. Did you use a Jeep a lot around here? I mean, did you go out in the hills and so forth?
You mean ordinarily?
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife and I went all over the hills here, and any place that you said you couldn't go, we went.
I have a husband that does that same thing. uh, you were very active in the community. You were in the Lions Club. So what were some of the projects that the Lions Club did way back then?
Oh, we furnished classes for the poor that optometrists took to foreign countries with them, and things like that. I don't know. We were always interested in something, in either in civic duty or something.
Did you
like
sell brooms? That's what I remember about the.
Yes, I believe we did.
Because would see you all over town with a pickup with brooms and mops going around.
Yes, we did. Since I think about it, I went. I don't know how many years I went, but I had. What I'm trying to say, I didn't miss a meeting for several years. One time, my wife went to Detroit for a new Hudson, and we took her daughter, but we had to stop somewhere in Illinois to let her go to Sunday school because she hadn't missed a day of Sunday school in several years.
You were also active in the fire department, the volunteer fire department, for like 28 years,
Yep.
active.
All the way up to being chief.
Right. How did the firemen know where the fires were before radios?
By the rise and fall of the siren. You knew which portion of town to go to.
And so you just got you didn't know for sure where it was, but you just went to that side of town.
That's right.
The firemen have it easy today with their radios. And
Yes.
how have the trucks changed over the years?
Well, did I tell you about the old GMC truck?
No.
We had an old GMC truck that didn't have a cab on it. Didn't have a muffler. You could hear it all over the country. And one night, about 2 o'clock, the state police called Ann's father. He was a fire chief at the time, and told him there was a butane truck on fire about 10 miles south on the highway. And Clyde called me, and I ran to the station, and we jumped in that old truck and took off. And we went down there, and as we went down in the canyon, the state police tried to stop Clyde. He was driving, and he wouldn't pay them any attention. He blew that state policeman clear off the road, and he drove up to the side of that fire, and I jumped out and ran to the front, and I had to put the pump in gear and then grab the hose, and we put that fire out in just about a minute. And then the state police came down, and they really chewed on Clyde. He chewed right back at them. And we knew it was foolish, but we knew some of the characteristics of a fire from going to an annual school for firemen that we both attended for a number of years. And we had seen demonstrations of propane fires such as that.
What was one of the largest, scariest fires that you had during your tenure?
There was a fire, there was a filling station at the juncture of Main and Broadway at the south end of town, and it got a fire one night, and they called us, and the fire was everywhere. And of course there was gasoline tanks there, then there was oil barrels inside and such as that, and that's one of the larger ones. Then another time there was another station at Date and 8th Street, Date and 3rd Street, and it was fully afire too before we got the alarm.
How long did it take for you to put it out?
I can't remember because we weren't exactly keeping time, but it didn't take us very long. When we got both trucks there.
Both trucks?
Yeah, we had two then. We had a Model A Ford.
Now they have how many trucks?
Oh, now they have about 6, I think.
One for everything, I think.
Yeah.
You went on to work in the fire marshal's office. Tell us about that.
Yes, I was fire chief at the time, and I had to resign and because I had applied for this job as an inspector in the New Mexico State Fire Marshal's office, and which I did pass the exam and got the appointment. And I worked there 3 years before I quit. And Colonel Aldrich was the state fire marshal.